Hey, it is your girl Shannon with Shannon Ellis Real Estate. So I am on here to do a live video about the home buying process and just kind of answer any questions that any of you may have. So just a little bit about myself. I am an agent with Keller Williams. Been real estate agent for a couple of years, and I've just come across so many amazing people and helped a lot of families. And I'm just happy to at least share this basic home buying process with you all. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing that you want to do when you are thinking about purchasing a home is obviously you want to kind of know what your credit score is and if you owe any debt, etc. So that's really important because when it's time for your pre-approval, those things are going to come up. What a lot of people do, I like to provide what's called an initial consultation with them. And during that initial consultation, I just kind of basically ask you all the same things like, how soon are you looking to move? Do you have any idea what your credit score is? And it doesn't have to be exact because a lot of people don't know what their exact credit score is. So I ask, when are you looking to move? What is the roundabout figure of your income? Are you within a current lease? Just some basic preliminary questions that I typically ask. Once we do all of that, I will connect you with one of my preferred lenders. And with my preferred lenders, these are people that I have worked with in the past. They have a proven track record of closing deals and getting your loan across. So I'm just not going to refer you to anyone. And I have a couple of lenders that I work with that are really good at what they do. What they're going to do is check your financial history. And in checking that financial history, they are going to obviously check your credit report. They want to check your credit scores. They want to check your income. Just to want to check your readiness to see how much you can afford. Now, with the lenders that I work with, if you're not quite ready right now, we will put you on a plan to get you ready. So it's not just you're not ready and that's it. I have worked with lenders before that have denied people that I've sent to them to get them approved, and then they've just been left hanging. So then I have to go back and just kind of work with them to let them know, okay, this is what you need to do. I don't work with those folks anymore. So like I said, most of my lenders, hold on one moment. Okay, most of my lenders, they will work with you. They will, let you know what you need to do to get ready and then put you on a timeline and communicate that with me as well. So once you do get approved, like I said, they're going to check your financial readiness. You want to make sure that when you meet with the lender, they're going to ask you for your W-2. And if you are self-employed, they're going to ask for bank statements. And side note, you can purchase a home even if you are self-employed. A lot of people have that misconception that you cannot, or it's just going to take a lot of money. It does not take a lot of money. So you can still purchase a home even if you are self-employed. So they're going to ask you for bank statements, W-2s. They're going to check your credit, your tax records. They're going to request all of that information just to see how ready you are. If there are some things that you have to explain later on down the line, be prepared to explain those things. Like why were you delinquent on one bill, whatever the case may be, just be prepared to explain those things. Bottom line, you want to have your credit as clean as possible. If there are a few blemishes on there, obviously, like I said, the loan officer will tell you what you need to do to correct those so we can move to the next step. So once you get your pre-approval, the purpose of that is to let me know just how much house you can afford. And it also gives us an idea based on what you want, what your criteria is, and what your budget is, where we can shop and when we can start the shopping process. I mean, once you get the pre-approval and we go over everything, we can start shopping immediately. So once you do get that pre-approval, like I said, it gives you a budget. And side note, most agents, I don't know any agents that will not, but most agents will not take you home shopping without that pre-approval or at least some form saying that you can, afford the home that you're looking for. So we're going to need some sort of proof of funds, okay? Even if you are a cash buyer, we're still going to need proof of funds showing that you can afford the home, okay? So we got the pre-approval. This is what I do with all of my clients. Once we get the pre-approval, then we have that discovery stage. And in that discovery stage, that is where I actually dive deep into what your needs are. So I want to know, do you want to work? Do you want to live close to work? Do you want more of a commute? Do you want to live in town? Do you want to live, in the suburbs? Or what school systems are important to you? Is the school system important to you? Do you really enjoy the nightlife? Are you going to be, you're going to take public transportation? So I take all of those things into consideration, and then we get into, what your deal breakers are. How many bedrooms do you want? Do you want a backyard? Do you want a condo? Do you want a townhome? Do you want a home that's going to require a lot of maintenance? Do you want a new construction home? And also, side note, even if you are purchasing a new construction home, you still need agent representation, because if that home is new, just because the home is new doesn't mean that everything is going to go right. You still need someone that's going to read those difficult builder contracts. You still need someone that's going to advocate on your behalf when something does go wrong. And trust me, something is going to go wrong. So we'll get into, do you want new construction? Do you want to live close to a lot of things that are important to you? Do you want to live close to shopping? Do you want a big yard? So we get into and dive into all of those things, and based on your budget and what you're looking for in a home, that will determine where we go look. Okay. And if you have time during our consultation, we can go shopping immediately. We can go looking immediately. It happens just that fast. So if you want to go shopping immediately, we'll go. If not, we'll come up with a schedule together that's going to be comfortable for both of us. And once we come up with that schedule, I will obviously send you my app. Of course, I'll send you my app beforehand, because most buyers, they start shopping at least 6 months before they actually contact an agent. But I will make sure that I send you my app. Once I send you my app, I'll set you up on an email where I will email you properties that fit your criteria. I'll monitor the market on a daily basis just to see what's coming up, what's new, what's coming soon, and so we can get a jump on it, because houses go fast, especially if it's priced really well. They're going to go pretty quickly. So we're out shopping. That's the fun part. We get to take a look and see, actually touch and see what the houses are like, what the neighborhood's like, etc. And after we've gone out and seen a certain amount of homes, I like to kind of debrief and think about, okay, what was it about these houses that you didn't like, or what is it about the homes that you did like? Because to be perfectly honest, after you've looked at about 10 houses, they all tend to look the same to you. They're going to run together, and you're not going to remember the pros and cons of all of the houses that you've seen. So if we haven't chosen something, not saying that I'm going to stop working with you after we've looked at 10 homes, but after we've looked at a certain amount of homes and nothing is standing out to you, then it's time for us to kind of reevaluate our wish list. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you may have something in your mind or in paper, or written down on paper, that you really, that's really dear to you, that you just can't go without. But once you get out there and you see other homes, or you start to see just other homes, something else, may want you to reevaluate your wish list. So that's why it's important, after we looked at a certain amount of homes, to just kind of reevaluate where this is going, pros and cons, etc. Because like I said, they all run together. So we've made it past the stage. We've chosen a home. after you selected a home, we will put an offer in on the home. And basically, when we're putting in an offer, I will take a look at the other comparable homes in the neighborhood to see what is sold. And we'll take a look at your situation, whether you need any type of down payment assistance, whether you need help with closing costs. All of those factors determine what we offer. Okay, so and of course, it's not just going to be saying, okay, you should offer this. I'll have statistics and facts to back up what we're going to offer. So we put in an offer, and say for instance our offer does not get accepted. That's okay. That's okay. It's not the only home that's on the market. We'll just keep it moving. One thing I always tell my buyers is do not get attached to this home until you actually have the keys. Okay, do not get attached, because for whatever reason, if our offer doesn't get accepted or whatever, anything can happen. It needs too many repairs. I don't want you to get attached. Let's quickly move on. So, but what if our offer does get accepted? So once it does get accepted, we will go into what's called a due diligence period. And in that due diligence period, that is where you will hire an inspector to take a look at your home, to see, to evaluate all of the components of your home. Now, your home does not pass or fail an inspection. It is simply the time for you to get to know your home. Okay, and what I mean is he's going to inspect the hot water heater. He's going to inspect the water. Everything's going to get inspected. The attic, crawl space, he's gonna take a look. He or she will take a look at everything. This is a good time for you to get to know that home, because after all, you're gonna be buying this home. This is a huge purchase. And so it's gonna be to your benefit to make sure that you're there. So due diligence period usually lasts it could go anywhere from 7 to 14 days, depending on what we're facing. So it could go anywhere from 7 to 14 days. That's a time for you to get it inspected. It's a time for you to get to know the neighborhood. It's a time to do research on crime statistics, the school system in that neighborhood. It is basically a time for you to get to know what you're getting into, okay? And this is also your first out. So say for instance, if the home needs a hot water heater, and it's just going to be too costly, and the seller just doesn't want to repair it, you can walk away. As long as we follow what we're supposed to follow, as long as we do what we're supposed to do that's in the 4 walls of that contract, we can walk away. One thing I did forget to mention is once we put in an offer, it's a good idea to put up that earnest money. And with earnest money, it just shows that you are a serious buyer. That money, you don't lose that money if you follow what's in the 4 walls of that contract. As long as you follow everything that you, the buyer, is supposed to follow, do what you're supposed to do, then if we ever need to back out, you can get your earnest money back. But if we don't back out and we decide to move forward, that earnest money will go towards your closing cost, okay? So we are in the due diligence period. Everything is smooth sailing. We're good to go. The next step after the due diligence period is the negotiations, okay? And in the negotiation, that's where we can ask for, certain things that we want if we do need repairs, or if we don't need to negotiate and everything's smooth sailing, then we'll just move on to the next step. That next step is going to be the financing and appraising contingency or appraisal period. And in that financing period, that's just where we want to make sure that you have not made any new purchases, that you haven't co-signed for anyone, that you haven't established any new credit, because all of these things can stop you from actually getting that final approval, that final clear to close. So with that financing contingency, that's where your lender is in the background, making sure that you are just staying put for at least 21 to 45 days, staying put and making sure that your financial picture it's still in perfect health. It's still pretty good. You're still able to purchase a home. So with that financing contingency and the appraisal contingency and due diligence, they all run concurrent. So one doesn't start when the other one stops. They all run concurrent. So things move pretty quickly during the home buying process, and time is of the essence. So while you're in the home buying process, you will get a calendar from me saying, okay, this is due this date, this is due this date, this is due this date. You may have to handle some things on your lunch break. You may have to take the morning off, but time is of the essence, and I'm going to be on top of you, and I expect you to be on top of it as well. So we are in the financing contingency. Like I said, you don't need to make any new purchases. You don't need to co-sign. You don't need to establish any new credit. You don't need to do any of those things. So we make it past that. We want to make sure that your house appraises as well. So that's where a third party will go out and assess the fair market value of your home. Basically, the lender just wants to make sure that the money that they're loaning you, that the house that you're purchasing is worth the money that they're loaning you. And if the house doesn't appraise, we have a couple of options. So if it doesn't appraise, we can either cover the difference of that appraisal. So say for instance, if you purchase a home that's $200,000 and it only appraises for $190,000. So you can either, if you want the house bad enough, you can either pay that $10,000 difference, or we can ask the seller to lower that price based on the appraisal. Okay, so if it doesn't appraise, that gives you a way to get out and still, get your earnest money. And the only thing that we've lost is time. Okay, so if it does appraise and everything is moving along, we're good to go. We've made it past that. With the financing contingency, if for whatever reason you don't follow all the guidelines or you don't get that final approval, that's a way for us to back out as well. So we want to make sure that we don't do anything to mess it up. Think about it. It's only a short period of your life. And so we want to make sure that everything stays, it's not going to be perfect, but we don't want to make any sudden changes. And it's going to be a very emotional period. I'll be there to be that calm in the storm, of course. And so whatever I guide you to do, just trust me, do it, okay? Because we want to make sure the ultimate goal is to make sure that we close. So we've made it through financing. We've made it through the appraisal contingency. And after that, we will do what's called a final walkthrough. And that's just to make sure that the house is in good condition. We'll do that the day before. We want to make sure that it's in good condition, that nothing's happened, that it didn't burn down, no one's broken into it. We'll do all that stuff. Let me back up a little bit. So before we even get to that final walkthrough, you're going to receive a lot of communication. Like I said, so you'll receive some information from the closing attorney. You'll receive information, from me. You'll receive some more information from the lender. If your lender asks you to submit all those W-2s and bank statements and check stubs, all that stuff again, just go ahead and do it, because they are going to run your credit again. And if everything, just to verify that everything is what it is, we want to make sure of that, okay? So they're going to run your credit again. They're going to check your tax records, do all that good stuff. So don't get upset or get alarmed, or now's not the time to throw in the towel. It's just all a part of the process. So we made it through all of that. You've had communication with the closing attorney. You've sent them everything that they needed. And with the closing attorney, you want to make sure that you follow their instructions strictly. I've seen where something as little as an expired driver's license stop the deal from happening, stop you from purchasing your home. So we want to make sure that everything, that we dot all I's and cross all T's. Cross all T's and dot all I's. So we want to make sure that we do that. So we made it through the due diligence. We've made it through financing. We've made it through the appraisal contingency. We've gotten all of our wire instructions from the closing attorney. We've done everything that we're supposed to do. You finally got the clear to close. we will do what's called a final walkthrough. And I typically like to do those the day before we close. And that's just to make sure that if there are any repairs that we had to negotiate, like I said, we want to make sure that those are done. We want to make sure that the house is still in good standing. We want to make sure that we're closing on what we actually said we're going to purchase, okay? So it's just a way to make sure that everything is still in good order. Once we do that final walkthrough, we get the clear to close, we go to the closing table, and that's just where we all just meet up at the attorney's office. We all check in. We go into a room, and you, the buyer, hey Shakiria, hey lady, and you meet with the closing attorney. The buyer, you will sign your life away. Basically you're just going to sign. What you're signing is, hey, I'm buying a house. I know I'm buying a house. If I don't pay for this house, it's going to get foreclosed on. That's basically what you're signing, and it takes about an hour to sign all of those documents, and you will get your keys. The seller will be there signing, signing the home away, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty much it. There are a lot of things that go on in the background of purchasing a home, so remain calm. Trust your agent, and just know that it will be over in a little while. So I hope this helps. Oh, also, you get your keys at the closing table. So as soon as we close, you get your keys, you can go to your new home and move in and have that housewarming party. So again, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, you can always reach out. My number is 678-263-8966. Yes, it is a great experience. And you can always email me at shannon.ellis@kw.com. Or you can always just send me a message through Messenger. If you know anyone that is looking to buy, why don't you tag them in this video or share it with them? And I'd be happy to, if you need some information yourself, I'd be happy to send you out some information on buying a home. So I hope this helps. I will talk to you soon. Bye.